All right, we're going to learn how to drop a mirror on demand in VRChat using simple 3.0 menuing. First thing we're going to do is load the mirror package, and link is in the description. Select it, open it, import. It's going to add some stuff at the bottom. We're going to look at this mirror element here. Take it, drag it over to this plane over here, right-click it, and do unpack prefab. Do that on the mirror, and then also do it on your avatar if you've never done that before. Again, right-click, unpack prefab. That allows us to move things in and out of these avatar packages. We're going to do that right now. Under Mirror, take it, drag it into your avatar package. It should look something like this. It'll show your armature, your body, and then whatever meshes your avatar might have. Where's this mirror element? And in the mirror element, there's a couple different things in here. If you expand it all the way out, there's something called an anchor. Take this and drag it back up into your avatar element. See how it's shifted left a little bit? That means it's paired with your baseline avatar items here. That means that whenever the mirror is loaded and unloaded, when it's turned off and on, it will do it in relation to your character. That anchor point means that it's there and it gets coordinates. It doesn't use other world values. If you did not have this, the mirror would spawn somewhere in the world. Who knows? Good luck finding it. We're going to do some housekeeping stuff here. The way we're creating a camera is through a camera and a rendering texture. That means we have to play a little bit with layers. Not a lot of videos go into layers, but I'm going to walk you through some simple thing here that we can do with this camera. At the top of Unity, on the top right, there should be a drop-down menu called Layers. If you open that up and go to Edit Layers, bring up this menu here. Make sure just Layers is expanded. We're going to add some things. VRChat automatically adds certain layers when you upload characters, but we need to play around with it within Unity, so we got to manually edit it in here. On layer 8, let's do post-processing. Layer 9, we're going to do player. Layer 10, player, local. And all the way down to layer 18, we're going to do mirror reflection. Now, these layers mean different things to the VRChat programming. Basically, player is other players. Player local is your character's model without a head. This is the model that loads when you look down at your body when you're wearing a headset in VR. The mirror reflection is what it shows to your character. This is everything. This is head and body. Now that's done, don't have to worry about that for now. Let's go back to the mirror element. If we zoom out a bit, you see it's got a camera that's displaying towards us. The way this mirror works is that it's one way. If you're in the world looking at someone with the mirror down, you can see through the mirror and you can see the character. It reduces the visual clutter of a room. But if you're standing in front of the mirror, it's a one-way mirror, you'll see it displayed. First thing you want to do is go to this plane, make sure the mesh renderer is opened up under materials, and turn off receive shadows. It's a mirror, it does not need to receive shadows. It's okay. You can also probably turn off cast shadows. It doesn't need to do anything with shadows. Now we go to camera. Under the culling mask camera option, we're going to select right now player, player local, mirror reflection. This is effectively a low quality mirror. It will reflect the skybox behind you and just the characters. If you wanted a high quality mirror that shows the environment, just select everything. We're going to go back to this in a second. Right now, go to play mode. And after you're in play mode, go back to the scene, select your avatar, make sure on your move, and move it around a bit. Make sure the mirror is not moving with your avatar. Make sure it's going one-to-one, left to right. If it's doing something different than this, something went wrong. Redo it, something happened. It's probably having to do with the anchor point. Make sure it's set up and you're okay. Let's go back to play mode. Now, everything we're doing from here on out is going to be dealing with menus and variables, so we're not really going to be looking at the scene at all. One thing that we need to do is go back to camera, back to culling mask, and we're going to uncheck player local. Because we're going to see the mirror reflection in other players, we do not need to see the player local also transmitted to the texture. It just adds more processing. It kind of doubles everything up. But if we uncheck this, Unity does not display the character. It's okay. It'll work in VRChat. It's a Unity thing. We'll move on. Now, we need to actually create the menuing elements. If you've never done this before, it's okay. I'll walk you through it. We're going to create a folder to store all these elements. Let's just call it menu. Lack of a better term, we'll sort it out later. Let's just get it working. We're going to right-click, create, VRChat, avatars, expression parameters. Again, do the same thing, create, VRChat, avatars, expression menu. We're also going to do create animator controller. Do not do animator override controller. That's a 2.0 thing. We've moved on. Doing animator override controller will break the animations that we're going to be doing. Do animator controller. Now we're going to be playing with some layering. You don't have to know about it, but it's going to live on the FX layer, so I'm just call it FX layer for lack of a better name. Now let's do some of the animation setup. I'm going to go to Window, Animation, Animator. This brings up a little tab up here that lets us play with the animator. This is somewhat visual programming if you've never done one of these menus before. Again, I'll take it slow, assuming that. Make sure the Layer tab is highlighted over here on the animator window. It should look something like this. Go to the plus sign. Let's call this Mirror, this layer. Select the cogwheel. Make sure the cogwheel has the weight all the way to 1. If it's at 0, it's going to be disabled. There's been many debugs happening, hours of grief and work done, things programmed perfectly, and for some reason, weight was just never set to 1. Don't be that guy. Set it to 1. Let's move on. Now we're going to have to create a variable to hold a toggle state. What's going to happen is that in the game, you're going to go to the menu to toggle the mirror on and off. What that means to the game is that when you press that menu, it's going to set a variable to on, a 1 value. We need to make that variable. We're going to go to parameters. Under parameters, we're going to select the plus sign. We're going to create an integer. This is going to be called mirror t. Lack of a better variable name, just so we can track it. Again, just remember what this is named as. I don't know if capitalization matters. It's okay. Just remember this. Let's go back to layers. We're going to play with this variable. Now we're going to have a couple different states. We're going to have a default state. So I'm going to go right-click in this area, create state, empty. Click on the new state, rename it. Our default state is going to be mirror off. Now that has an animation to it. Select this little reticle, select the mirror off animation. Now that's going to be, why didn't that rename? Thank you, Unity. All right, there we go. So that's our default state. It's always going to be there at rest. If we touch the menu and change that variable of mirror t to 1 instead of 0, we're going to first want to reset that anchor point to let the world know we're going to set the mirror at our character's location. So we need to create that animation. So we're going to right-click, create state, empty. We're going to call this reset. Again, that has this animation. Select the reticle, go all the way down, and find the reset animation. Now, after the anchor point's been reset to your character's position, we now actually turn the mirror on. Create state, empty. Select it again. Let's call it mirror on. That also has the animation right there, mirror on. Now, to move between all three of these variables, we need to actually program it. Simple enough. Click mirror off. We're going to make a transition. After you select that transition from mirror off to reset, select the white line. It's going to bring up this menu. Don't worry too much about this one. We're going to set a condition. The condition is going to be, it should autofill it, mirror t equals 1. So when you select the menu, mirror t equals 1, this is going to see, hey, mirror t equals 1. What do? We move to the reset position. We're going to reset that anchor. And then because the anchor is reset, we're now going to transition to mirror on. We can select this element, add the condition, mirror t equals 1. So again, we're going to reset the anchor, mirror is now on. Now it's going to stay that way until we hit the menu again. When you hit the menu again, that mirror t value is going to reset from 1 to 0. So when that happens, we're going to turn it off. To do that, we can select mirror, transition, mirror off, edit this transition. It's going to turn off whenever mirror t does not equal 1. Now, is it always going to be 1 and 0? Probably. I don't know. Play around with it. I know this works. You know, I'm not going to mess with something that works. This is basically how the cycle of animation goes. This is how it would be for a lot of different menuing elements in 3.0. You're turning something on and then off. You just have to go back and forth between different values and animations tied to those. Pretty simple stuff. Now, we can actually program this into the avatar. We're going to go back to the avatar itself. Let's go back to the scene. just so we have something to look at. And this should be the way it should default to. Now, if you've already uploaded an avatar before, you're probably familiar with this one. But if not, let me walk you through it. We're going to add a component. We're going to add VRC, avatar descriptor. Let's set a viewpoint. It's a little ball. It's playing right above my character right here. That's where your eyes are. We're going to do edit and move this down. And the goal is to keep it kind of right between the eyes a bit, just so the viewpoint's right. That's fine, just so we can test it out. Play with lip sync, do that a little bit later. We're going to play with these two things, playable layers and expressions. Under playable layers, we're going to do customize, and we're going to be playing with the FX layer. So I'm going to click the default. It's going to bring in this default value. We're going to click the reticle. We're going to select that FX layer. That's all we do here. Let's minimize this. We don't have to go back to that. That's scary looking. We're going to go to expressions. Under expressions, customize. We're going to do two things, menu and parameters. Let's go to menu. That's that menu we created really early on. And then parameters, that element there. There we go. Now these are going to be customized menus in the gesture panel. It's going to trigger this FX layer animation. So this should be down here. Again, under assets, we created this menu. Here's these two elements that we created, this parameter asset and menu asset. Let's go to the parameter asset. It's going to bring up something like this. In an available parameter slot, type in mirror T. And if you forget what it's called, you should be able to go back to this animator tab up here, select parameters, just see what you called it if you forget. Again, mirror T, mirror T. Again, capitalization may be important, I don't know. And make sure this is an integer for this purpose. Now, we're going to manipulate that variable. We're going to select the menu. It's going to have something like this. Add a control. This is what it's going to look like in your gesture menu. So we're going to call this toggle mirror. We're going to give it a nice little icon. What do we have? There, magical, wonderful. Type will be a toggle. It's going to set a value from 1 to 0 back and forth. The parameter it's going to set is mirror T. That's it. You're done. Upload your avatar. Have fun with it. Play around with it. Experiment. Add different controls. I'll show you what it looks like in game. One last thing before we upload it. Let's go back to the mirror. Select the mirror. Uncheck this check mark. You'll thank me later. And one last thing with this. With the mirror, it is a friends-only mirror. The way that camera elements work in VRChat is that these elements are locked down to friends and local only. It will not display for anyone not on your friends list. Now, if you're playing around in a world and someone adds you to your friends list, they cannot immediately see the mirror either. They have to rejoin the world. So again, it's for friends only, local only. And if someone adds you in the world while you're already loaded on your avatar with the mirror, they have to reload and rejoin the world. All right, let's go check it out. All right, avatar loaded into the game. Let's see how it works. Open up the new expressions menu, our new toggle mirror that we just made. Here, see? Mirror anytime, anywhere. You can certainly play around with the settings. Try to make it high quality, maybe make it bigger, wider. Play around with other toys. Learn some settings from the 3.0 and see what you can adapt to the new mirror tool. Let me show you what I've done. I'm kind of curious about what you might see as well. Yeah. So what I've done on mine, I can of course create a mirror anytime. Got a high quality, a little wider. You can also change it from low quality to high quality on demand. Just a simple toggle. Again, just making two different cameras and swapping between the two. You can also change the mirror hue. When I go blue, when I go pink, anyone in the scene will change colors. You can shift their colors. You can shift other objects that might be in the scene. Have fun, try it out. Again, that's what it's all about, just experimenting. Hope you had a good time.